Good morning. We want to welcome you to the Chamber Breakfast Briefing. My name is David Lockwood. I'm with Colliers here in Columbia. And this is a very special day. As you know, today is September the 11th. And at 8:14 on September 11th, 2001, we know of the tragedy that hit our country with the towers that came down in New York City. And we remember that day, a horrific day. We remember the tragedy. But what we want to do this morning is to remember all those who lost their lives in that terrible tragedy and the other plane crashes around those events. So I would ask if you would just to bow your head in a few moments of silence, remembering those who worked in the towers, who worked on the planes, and especially the first responders who were also tragically killed that day. And then I'll open up our breakfast briefing with a morning prayer and a blessing for our food. So if you would, bow your heads just in a moment of silence. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the sun that has risen today and rises every day, shines light on our great community here. But Lord, even in the brightness of the sunshine that we experience today, we remember the tragedy that occurred on 9/11. Lord, even in our moment of silence in our prayers, we honor those whose lives were lost on that fateful day. Lord, I pray that we would remember those and never forget those that lost their lives. But Lord, we're also so thankful for where our country has come in honoring those who not only sacrifice their lives for our freedoms, but fight for our freedoms every single day. Lord, for our military, for our first responders in our community. Lord, we pray that we would stand shoulder to shoulder with them and support them in every way possible. Heavenly Father, we are thankful for this community, for the Columbia Chamber, for the business that we have throughout the Midlands of South Carolina. Lord, this is a special place. We love living here. We love seeing what's going on. We love seeing the progress that we are making. Lord, I just ask that you continue to be with us as we strive to get better each and every day. Lord, we thank you for the food that is before us this morning. We ask that it would nourish our bodies. Lord, we just give you all the praise and the glory for all the good things that we see each and every day here in Columbia. We pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. My name is David Looper. I am the chair of the Public Policy Committee this year. And just want to echo David Lockwood's welcome to everybody. Thank you all for being here. Right before we start our program, we've got David Adams from MUSC, who is our presenting sponsor this morning. He's just going to give us a few words.
Morning. I'm sorry. I'm loud enough without this thing, but I try. Thank you for having us here. We're proud to be sponsors of this. It's a somber day, but it's also a day that I still remember the first plane that flew over the State House after September 11th. I was sitting on the State House grounds that day, and it was a quiet and lonely sound. It still touches me to this day. But I also get the chance now to be thankful with all of you for the last 23 years of what we've seen and done together, of what Columbia has become and is becoming, to be in a community and in a country where I get to walk out of my door every day and be with friends, neighbors, family, faith community, and groups of people like you who, even though we have a long way to go, are still working to make things better every day. And because of people like you and the people in our community, we're poised for great growth in the future. And at MUSC, we really look forward to being part of that growth and a part of the great story that Columbia has to tell and will become in the future. So thank you for letting us be here today. We always enjoy being a part, and if there's anything you ever need from MUSC, please do call on me, find me anytime. Thank you.
All right, if we could get Jason and Ryan to come on up. Missed those names. That was David, David, and David with the intro. So perfect for cocktail hour later. Thank you, guys. So I don't think that you guys are strangers to a lot of the familiar faces we have here, but if you could just tell us a little bit about yourselves, how you ended up in economic development and your roles that you have today.
All right, I'll share. I won the coin toss. I picked the left side, and I'm going to get the last statement, just so you know.
Go for it.
No, Jason Giulietti with the Central South Carolina Alliance. Have been here 1 year today. Today's my 1 year anniversary in South Carolina, so really excited to be with you. Our organization is a 30-year-old regional economic development alliance. You know, we're one of 8 in the state of South Carolina. And my way before South Carolina was via Texas, where I was running a similar type organization in between Austin and San Antonio, tremendously fast-growing part of the country. And then before that, back up north in the state of Connecticut, working in the same sector on a statewide basis, helping attract companies and investment to that location. So excited to be with you and excited to get into what we've been working on alongside Ryan and many of other communities we have in our footprint.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Coleman. I'm Director of Economic Development with the City of Columbia. I've been with the city for coming up on 18 years next month. I started off with the city at entry level. I graduated from the Moore School with a degree in economics. It turns out economics and economic development are not quite the same thing at the end of the day. There's a lot of supply and demand and discussions on theory and policy on the one side, but as I tell people, the way we summarize economic development now, we've really tried to distill it down. We're sales and customer service for the city of Columbia, so we're doing what we can to promote the city, promote all the wonderful things that are happening here in the city and region. We want to bring outside investment, business, and developers in, but you know, we also want to support our existing businesses, their growth and development, and just market and communicate the wonderful things that are happening here in the region.
Awesome, thank y'all. So you kind of touched on it, but obviously in the past year, economic development, announcements, projects coming in has just been amazing. You know, I get to work, I check bank balance, I check email, and I check what announcement for a new company's coming. So you kind of touched on it, but what are the nuts and bolts of what y'all do day in, day out that are attracting those companies?
So, you want to take first?
Go for it.
All right, I'll start kind of a larger overlay, I guess, on the macro side, and then take it down to the community side. So, as a regional economic development organization, you know, our job is twofold. One is to communicate to the world that this is a great place to locate a business, right? When I just look in the continental United States, there's 3,600 plus economic development organizations like Ryan and I competing for jobs and investment. So it is stiff. The competition out there is stiff. And when we take a step back and look at making sure the world knows we exist, you know, that competition, we're blessed here in this state to realize that we've seen success, and you're getting to see those announcements more frequently. We were just talking, David and I, about looking around the country and knowing many other parts are not feeling that same level of success we are. So we go out and tell that story that this is a great place to be, and here are the examples of the companies, both that were started here, that have moved here, and have seen success and continue to see success here. So we go out and tell that story, one. And then two, we go out and unearth where those companies around the world would benefit from coming to South Carolina, in particular this part of South Carolina. Leveraging the assets we have, we really look at the different components, like the University of South Carolina being right here on our front door, having access to a tier 1 university like that and the resources it brings. having a robust, diverse economy, having a workforce that we know is ready and willing and able to step into the next generation of the economy. Those type of things we put forward and we ultimately use as attractions to get and identify those companies. We also utilize data a lot, far more than you might realize. So we go out and really try to unearth through data analytics where in the world these companies that best align and match with us are in the world, and then communicate to them why they should consider, if they're looking to expand or grow, South Carolina. And as we do that, our principal job is to communicate what's here, to identify those companies, and what we call them is qualify them. Get them to a point where we know they have a project need, they have a real estate need, they have some type of component where we can then service them. And that's when we hand the ball off to folks like Ryan in our communities with what we call just basic, we'll use the baseball analogy here, at-bats. We want to make sure we get you into the box. We want to make sure we give you the best possible pitch to be successful and make their life easier by not having them spend the time and effort on that level, more of focusing on the local opportunities. So we try to provide you guys as many as we can. And that's kind of how our perspective is on the lead generation side and getting to those announcements.
Yeah, and to add to that, I'll say from the local level in the city of Columbia, we're probably a little more granular and hands-on with projects as they come in. In a post-COVID world, we have really shifted our focus for the city of Columbia. We're focused a lot on mixed-use, multifamily projects. We want that urban growth, that density, the quality of life that's going to help us attract and retain talent. So we go to Urban Land Institute a lot. We go out to meet with these multifamily developers. There's a lot of opportunities. You know, we're overbuilt on surface parking at the city, so, you know, we would like for people to come in that can bring projects that would provide residential units for people to live downtown that will make more efficient land use. We've got a full-time business recruiter on staff. Her name's Grace Salter. Many of you have probably met her already. So she's going to these conferences. We're also focused on, you know, the other quality of life aspects, like restaurant, retail, you know, things that are going to support the public, the things that these young talented graduates at USC and our other 5 colleges all want to see and frequent. So we're very hands-on in that aspect. We think we'll probably get back into some more office recruitment over the next year or two as you know, the environment for office improves a little bit. And then it's a lot of working with existing business, small business and entrepreneurs. So we work with the USC Columbia Technology Incubator, with GrowCo, with our entrepreneurs and innovators. We work with project management with new businesses that are getting started up. So yesterday we were coordinating with Right Dose on their expansion out at the Midlands Tech Northeast campus, helping them handle some permitting issues and things like that. Even things as simple as helping somebody coordinating a new business opening. I mean, we have seen a tremendous amount of new business openings just in the past 2 to 3 years. And as I like to tell everybody, you know, 3 years ago, we were in a situation where when you looked at 5 Points and you looked at other areas, we were looking for businesses to go into individual spaces. That has changed now. There's not a lot of vacancies out there. Right now, we're looking for developers to build new spaces for the businesses to go into, you know, so it's a good problem to have, but it's still a challenge that we need to address as a city, you know, continuing to invest in underutilized property and just create more growth opportunities for folks. People are interested in Columbia now. We're kind of hot and we're on people's radar.
And I'll just add to that, I think Columbia is in the ideal position right now. Looking at the market, the post-COVID environment that we're in, it's extremely well positioned for success, where other markets have kind of went a little all in before the pandemic and kind of are experiencing very different challenges than where Columbia is on that upslope. And I think that's what's really, really attractive about what's going on in this region, what's going on in the state. We don't have the high costs as other markets around us, both in-state and out. So I think Columbia is just really, really well poised here to take advantage of where this new economy is going and growing far more into the future than kind of looking back.
Awesome. Thank y'all. So, Jason, you kind of touched on it. So there are thousands of these development companies, arms all over the Southeast. And you guys obviously have a really good collaborative relationship. how do you kind of collaborate up and down the spectrum from both y'all's seats with Department of Commerce, from the county, from all the invested parties? How does that spectrum look?
Sure. So it's a true partnership. First off, I think that's the important part to highlight. So the way South Carolina is set up, the Department of Commerce, the statewide state agency, that's their mission, right? Is to go out there and help identify companies that want to come here. When we pull it down on a regional level, I view us as one of the lead organizations statewide to go out there and be very, very aggressive to represent you guys here in this room and the 8 counties in the city that we cover, to ensure that we are making sure we're getting those looks and opportunities. It's very easy in our industry just to wait for the phone to call, which some parts of the country do. We do not, right? We're very, very aggressive at finding these employers that are growing and bringing them here. And when I say that, we do it in a way that is not just a shotgun going after everybody that wants to grow. We want to go after the industries and the right employers that fit our market, right? So we're not bringing in things that are going to challenge our environment. We're going things that are going to grow our environment, provide more economic opportunity for those that live here. So really, when we partner, it's working alongside commerce in some instances. Some we're creating our own leads through our work to bring to our region. But our goal, again, is to identify those and then bring them to our communities. So we bring them and provide those opportunities to all 8 counties and the city. One of the things we're big on, and anybody that has heard us speak in terms of our organization, transparency is really, really big for us. So we're very big on transparency and accountability. And what I mean by that, when we go out and identify these opportunities, this is where the partnership really becomes the strongest, is we go out and qualify those leads I mentioned, and then we provide all of the data that we've amassed about that data information once we've had that need and share it with our communities. In a sense, it allows them now to go out and finish and close out that deal alongside the opportunities we've created to help. And in doing that, our partnerships with our communities gets customized. So instead of saying, Columbia, sorry, you have to fit this mold, we allow everybody the opportunity to see these prospects for what they are and ultimately provide them an opportunity for success. So we partner alongside every step of that process. We're there as an extension of Ryan's team. Ryan's there as an extension of our team. It's really meant to be collaborative with every layer of the process here in the state. But we do not do the incentives. We do not do some of the stuff that gets in the news. That's these guys. We do everything in between there to ensure they have the success they need to get to that announcement phase.
Yeah, I'll say from the city's perspective, we probably coordinate with Commerce the least, and it's a little more on a project by project basis, although we're seeing some more activity as the SC Nexus Award has been granted, and so I think we're going to have a lot more opportunities to interact with them. But typically when commerce is involved, there's a significant investment, there's a lot of job creation, so office users, things of that nature. So we interface a good bit there. Central SC Alliance is one of our ED partners, along with Columbia World Affairs Council, the Technology Incubator, City Center Partnership, the Chamber, and so we're in pretty regular contact with all of those partners, working on various initiatives. Some of it's very recruitment oriented, and then a lot of it is very focused around talent attraction and retention. And then I probably deal with Richland County Economic Development Office the most, and that revolves around our partnership with the Commercial Development Incentive Program. So as many of y'all know, our property taxes here in the city have been high. It's been challenging for a number of years. What started off as a student housing incentive back in 2014 has kind of become a mechanism for us to partner together and focus on urban density and vertical development. So a lot of these projects that you see coming into the downtown area have come by way of that program, and that's where we're able to utilize that partnership, give these developers a property tax incentive, but in turn, we're leaning on these developers as we go forward to continue to push the value of their projects forward. It used to be we would do this just for a multifamily development. Now what we're doing is we're using our incentive programs to encourage developers to add more value. So what we want to see is we want to see the quality and the level of investment go up here in the city of Columbia. And that could include access to more public parking. It could include investment in a brownfield site. I think, something that'll be a bigger focus for us is encouraging more, restaurant, retail space on the ground floor. We have to create this walkable environment, and a lot of developers kind of choose a quicker, easier path, and that's usually just to build out units and rent those out. It's a little easier to do. But we just want to see the number and the level of amenities increase here. And that program's been a really good partnership for the City of Columbia and County Council. It's been something we've both seen some wins on, and I think it's helped both of our councils come together and work better in partnership. So
Awesome. And this kind of goes to that, and I've heard this question in several of these breakfast briefings that we've had. So that's y'all using the gas pedal, right? Like, how do we sell? How do we bring these opportunities in? How do y'all ensure that infrastructure is appropriate, that workforce is, not getting completely absorbed by these awesome wins that y'all have had over the last couple of years?
Infrastructure investment's been going on for a while, and I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I've seen just a tremendous amount of road work happen just in this past year alone. So, Columbia Water has been investing in improving our water system for a number of years now, probably going back to around 2017 is when they really stepped up, the maintenance and the upkeep of the system, investing in new growth. The roads, are improving steadily around here. So it's good to see all this happening because I think the timing is really ideal for those investments. We work a lot with SCDOT, so I know as this growth is coming in, they're looking at the need for better accessibility, more safety, traffic lanes. The Assembly Street project is, it's kind of up for discussion right now, and that's something that's going to happen soon. Assembly Street has been a challenge for the city for a long time, and certainly, we understand the need to continue to move traffic and volume, but we also want to create a pedestrian safe environment where people feel safe moving from the downtown district over to the Vista. And that has historically been a challenge for the city. So that's great. And then from a workforce perspective, I don't think the Columbia region has really tapped into our full potential there, so in like the low state where you've had heavy employers like Boeing and Volkswagen and these other large manufacturers, they've kind of sucked up a lot of the air in the room as they've hired and built up capacity. We have not had that challenge here yet. But Scout Motors is going to start operating in about 2 to 3 years. That's 4,000 jobs. And that is going to create some strains on the workforce that we're going to have to start looking at more seriously going forward. Not a problem now, but just something to keep our eyes on.
Right.
And I think from our perspective, two things I'll share. So we're constantly on the pulse of where development could happen in this 8-county region. So we're in constant dialogue with our counties and our community partners on where we're seeing the most activity. So as they're looking to build out new developments or lay new infrastructure, the goal is to align it with what we're seeing for activity, right? So if a company lands somewhere because we think this is its highest likelihood of success, all of the utility and infrastructure that goes with that is directed there. So we try to be very transparent again with our communities on what we're seeing for the highest likelihood of success and where a project may land. So it's really helping inform them and better connect dots across county lines, across city lines, really trying to be mindful and intentional about that. On the workforce side, what I would share is I think there's plenty of absorption rate, we call it in the industry, here in South Carolina, in this region. We have tremendous assets in our educational institutions, both of higher ed and primary, that are coming into the workforce every year. With that, we're not going after another Scout right now. It just doesn't make sense. We have to absorb that success first. But we are going after other companies that are going to complement what we have here, or statewide initiatives like the SC Nexus program that the state was awarded. So we're going after those folks that we know are going to align with the skills and the areas of excellence within our educational institutions. So that way the workforce is already being developed for when this industry comes, And there's not going to be a challenge of having to then import in all these new folks or go out and have to upscale, because we've made sure that our focus and intentions are in alignment with what we're producing. So that's a lot of the way we sort of tackle that issue. And until there's a mismatch, right now we're going to continue to try to do that, because the more opportunity we can bring, and I go back real quick to the last point, is how we complement each other is we go after those primary sector employers. So we don't go after any retail, any hospitality. We're going after the jobs that are going to bring multipliers and wealth into the community. And when you have wealth in the community, guess what wants to be around you? Retail, restaurants, hospitality. So that's a really just small example of how the system kind of snowballs together in a way. But for us, the more folks we can bring here with higher wages, higher economic opportunity, the more we can continue to build out areas like this in the city.
Yeah, and if I can add two things to that real quick that I think play out in our favor. We have 53,000 students that come through Columbia every year via our 6 colleges. University of South Carolina just had another year of record enrollment. That's 38,300 students just at the Columbia campus alone. That's a tremendous net importer of new talent. So we just need to, capture more of those students, because many of them come here from out of state. And then last year, South Carolina was ranked like number 2 in the nation for percentage of population growth. So people are moving here, and we've got these tailwinds that are in our favor. We just have to, capture that population growth, give them good places to live, nice amenities, meaningful employment opportunities, and, hopefully the rest takes care of itself.
Right.
I want to add one more thing, because you're making me think we're going off each other a bunch here. The other part is, I mentioned earlier, telling the story. One thing that I find fascinating about this region is we haven't told the story to those students graduating these universities. They think the opportunities are in Charlotte and in Atlanta. They don't realize right here in their backyard, there is a lot of well-paying, good jobs where you can have a much higher quality of life when it comes to the costs associated with living in that community. So I think there's a strong effort right now to communicate more to the students that are coming here that are not from here, that there are great jobs here. There's great opportunities for them, both earlier in their career and later as they grow into a family. I think that's a big part of where we're trying to focus on right now alongside partners to communicate that story.
Big shout out to CORE, and I see Lee Goebel is here representing the organization. They've done a lot in the way of talent attraction and retention for many years here in Columbia. They're doing great work with the Capture Columbia and Crash Course programs. If you haven't gotten involved with them, get involved, help, support retaining these young graduates and young professionals.
Great. So those are tailwinds, like you said. Touch on headwinds. What are obstacles that y'all are facing when you're out soliciting business, when you're recruiting companies? What are the major pushbacks that y'all are hearing about the region, about our city, and specifically?
So I think the big thing we hear a lot, because the project size and scope these days are significant, right? They're typically pretty large investments that want to come in. One is product. Ryan was talking a little bit about that, is not having product, meaning we don't have the real estate solution on the ground already. So having that product, because ever since the pandemic, the acceleration of speed of projects and how fast they want to get operational in a new location has increased tenfold. And in doing that, we don't have the depth yet of resource here. We're getting it online. There's some great developments happening, and there's some new buildings that are getting built, which is great, but we need to continue to do that and continue to build out a diversity of options for these companies, because that truly is one of the things that challenges us to get to the finish line fast enough. And other than that, it's really just awareness again, awareness of the depth of the ecosystems in industry verticals here. Again, I don't think we've really told that story the way we should. I think we've done a great job once they're here, but really communicating that we are the battery belt of the country, right? We are the future in the battery components, which is why we got the designation. But does industry know that? When we go around the world telling people that, a lot of them scratch their head like, South Carolina? And I'm like, yes, South Carolina. Let me tell you, there's a department within USC that has been around for 35 years leading the world research in batteries. How come nobody knows that, right? That's the type of thing I think that challenges us, is that we have great assets, we have great things here, but if we don't have the product on the ground and we're not communicating the depth of our ecosystem, we're hurting ourselves by not allowing the world to hear this and know that this happens here. So that's one thing we're constantly running up against, is just educating our potential clients on what's really here.
Yeah, did y'all know we had a property tax challenge here? Has anybody brought that up before?
May have heard that once or twice.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we've come up with some creative solutions for that, but that's just tackling one aspect of investment and development here. And I will say this: I counted up some of the numbers for the projects that went through our commercial development incentive program since August 2023 of last year. $550 million worth of investment within a year period. And that's with one significant project that rolled off. It could have been north of that. Probably what we're seeing overall with things that we interact with from a permitting side is even higher than that. So that's tremendous. That's huge for Columbia, and really exciting statistic to know. I think this past year was a slow year. We've got high commercial interest rates. We're seeing interest from people, but the cost of lending to do office or multifamily projects is just too high. So that's over $500 million in investment in a suppressed environment where, people are waiting to get past Fed interest rates. I think people are waiting to get past the election season, which takes us right into December. A lot of people will probably not do much near the end of the year. I think beginning of next year, we're going to start to see a bigger uptick. The interest level in Columbia is at an all-time high in my 2 decades with the city. So I think if we can solve for some of the larger financial issues, you really start to see the floodgates open. You've got Scout Motors coming in. You've got the infrastructure on the riverfront teed up, ready to go at the beginning of next year. Columbia is on people's radar for all the right reasons. We used to be known as a not so business-friendly environment. Give a lot of credit to our planning staff, our utility staff, Krista Hampton, Missy Gentry, Clint Shealy, all the folks over there. They've really built up their team with a can-do approach, and we're getting things permitted and out the door way faster than we used to, and that's getting out there.
So kind of starting to wrap up, you've got this is obviously an engaged contingent of our area. So people who support the chamber, people who want to hear from leaders like y'all. What can existing industries, existing businesses do to help recruit new businesses and new industry to the area?
So I view it, we are truly a team sport. I will say that. And when I say that, I truly mean it. Folks like Carl here at the Chamber have done a tremendous partner in linking up and making sure that we are working together. Our communities, you mentioned some other organizations like CORE, the World Affairs Council, we are finding more and more intersection points to work together in unison, not in separate. So I extend that to the business community. I say the same thing. We are not in the business of bringing you more competitors and making your life challenging. We're there to strengthen the industry segment that you're in here in this region. So in doing that, there's ways to collaborate with us. We certainly want to show you off as a successful business here. So share your story with us. One of our jobs is to go out there and, again, tell the story of this region. So share with us what you're doing here, and if you're willing and able to do it, we want to communicate it to the world. Let us go get that story placed somewhere nationally, internationally, again, to tell the story of what's happening here. And secondly, as we're growing and you guys are successful in your business, we want to partner with you to share it with other businesses. And again, it's not competition, it's strengthening your industry segment. So the more we can partner, the more you can show off what you're doing here, the more we can tell that story in a way that is very meaningful to a potential company that's looking to come to this region.
Been in Columbia long enough to remember when people talked about there was nothing to do around here. I mean, when was the last time you heard anybody say that? It's been 2 or 3 years. People don't say that anymore. Columbia's got a lot going on. There's sports, there's festivals, there's activities, there's a market every weekend. So there's a lot of exciting things out there. Share what's going on in your community with your networks. Tell people outside the city about the fun, exciting stuff that's going on here. And, you are all business leaders. We need you to be ambassadors. When I look at my department, there's 5 of us, There's about 8 or 9 at Central SC. I think we do a lot to cover a lot of ground, but you've got your own networks. Tell the other business leaders that you network with about the positive experiences that you're seeing here, about what's happening in the community. You got customers, suppliers you work with, tell them about the area. We could always use, a warm lead, a warm handoff. So we welcome the opportunity to speak to anybody that might have an interest in investing in Columbia. I mean, you can refer them to Carl or Jason or myself, but, help us connect with those people, and we'll do what we can to help them, look around, see if there's an opportunity for them to grow their business here. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, we've got a lot of space for new businesses to come into the city, and we just want to welcome people that are expanding and help them find opportunities to be successful here in our city.
So I want to take that one little step further. Tell your employees how great it is and the things you get to hear about that maybe not every person within the company gets to hear. And why I say that is one of the things that often happens in our industry. A consultant will come in that's representing an investment. They'll go downtown into a restaurant. They'll talk to people on the street. And if people are down on or complaining about something, guess what happens? No matter how good of a job we do to sell the project, they are going to take those tidbits of information they collected and weigh them probably unfairly towards the negative. But if you continue to share with your employees, you continue to push that message that great things are happening in our community, get folks to stay positive. I mean, that's where we tell folks in the hospitality industry all the time, you're the front door to our community. Those are who people are talking to that are visiting this region. And if you're excited about what's here, not complaining about the traffic on the highway that doesn't really exist compared to other parts of the country, that's where we're really going to move the needle. So I think if you guys can just help share that story, stay positive on things. If there's challenges, let's tackle them head on. Let's not run from them. Let's run towards them. But I think that positive mental focus and attitude will really go far in helping us continue to keep the momentum going towards what we've been talking about and what this region is potential is.
I've heard Mayor Rickenman use a new term for it lately. He calls it the Eeyore mentality. You all remember Eeyore?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, me. Why bother? Go out, be a cheerleader. There's fun stuff happening. Let's talk about it. Let's have fun with this and let everybody know about the great things that are happening here. And if you do see challenges or there's legitimate issues out there that, the city, county, the region that we need to address, let us know. We encounter a lot of people that have challenges sometimes, and they wrestle with an individual issue, and we catch them after the fact. I spent 2 or 3 days trying to get this thing fixed. I mean, we probably could have helped you knock that out in like 2 to 3 hours because we would have known who to call or, kind of how to move something through the system a little bit. So, if there's a legitimate problem out there, we're here to help.
Awesome. Y'all take nothing else away. Take Ryan's Eeyore impression. We got.
The mayor does it way better, though. I got to give credit to him.
I think we got time for a question or two, if that's cool with y'all. Does anybody have any questions for these guys?
Yeah, so we are a 501c3. We don't do any lobbying. I totally get it where you're coming from, but we just don't do any physical lobbying up there. But our whole thing is we need to provide more economic opportunity, right? The more we can provide higher wages, whatever that may be, that's something we support. So if it's not direct lobbying, certainly we want to advocate for higher wages because that's ultimately what moves people up that economic ladder.
Anybody else? You guys must have hit them all. Let's give a big round of applause. Thank our speakers today. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, sir.
Very quickly, I think we have Alex from Blue Cross Blue Shield who's going to talk about partner perks. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Like I said, I'm Alex Kubas from Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. Just want to talk about perks that are available to you as a chamber member. So as the only South Carolina-owned and operated health insurance carrier, we have offered security to Palmetto State citizens for more than 70 years. As a community partner, we created Chamber Blue. Chamber Blue plan benefits are offered to businesses with 51 or more full-time employees exclusively through your local chamber. We offer the largest provider networks in the state, giving members the greatest choice in doctors, hospitals, and other healthcare providers. Our extensive menu of health plans, discounts, added values, and online services means more choices for our members with plans to fit every budget and lifestyle. So new for 2025, there was a lot of ruckus in the market with Blue Cross taking away some chamber plans, and we listened to the community, coming back stronger, adding new plans, new discounts, new value adds that are available to all our members. Just want to thank you for your partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina. As we work together, we support both the local chambers and the business community where we work and live. And I advise you to reach out to your Blue Cross representative just to hear about these new opportunities for 2025 and what it looks like for the market. And again, healthcare is rising, and it's a main focus in today's society, especially for employers and employees. So I highly advise you reach out to your Blue Cross representative. And most importantly, I do want to recognize the Blue Cross Blue Shield employees as a whole. We just finished our United Way drive, and over the entire corporation, Blue Cross employees, not Blue Cross the company, the Blue Cross employees have donated $2.6 million to the United Way, which is money that's going to go back into our community for people who are in need. So just very proud of us as a company coming together, the employees, and being able to offer that to the community. Thank you very much.
Don't have to sit here unless you really want to. Thank y'all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We're going to wrap up with just a few quick announcements and recognize a few people in the room. So first off, I'm going to introduce you guys to Rebecca Spence. If you guys have not met her yet, she oversees our partner accounts and contacts you guys and works with you guys on a daily basis to make sure you have everything you need. Rebecca also oversees our diplomats program, which she's going to tell you a little more about. And so if you guys hear from any of these diplomats, feel free to respond to them, make friends with them. They're awesome, and they are an extension of our chamber staff and really help us out a lot. So if you need anything, you could always reach out to a staff or reach out to one of our diplomats. So I'll pass it over to Rebecca.
Everybody, my name is Rebecca Spence. I am the Partner Relations Coordinator here at the Chamber. So our diplomat program is basically our Chamber Ambassador program. So they help us with things like ribbon cuttings, contacting partners, and making sure that everybody's doing good and happy with the partnership. So I'm here to present the Diplomat of the Quarter Award to the diplomat who has earned the most volunteer points for the quarter. So this award goes to Mitch Pollock with First Carolina Bank. And then I think there's a couple other diplomats in the crowd if you want to come join Mitch for a picture with the plaque.
If you've ever been to one of our ribbon cuttings, or a few of you in the room have had a ribbon cutting, then you have seen Mitch. He is at 99.9% of every single ribbon cutting that we host. He is there, he is holding the scissors, he is smiling and welcoming people. So if you have not had an opportunity to do a ribbon cutting or a groundbreaking celebration, let us know. We'd love to host that for you, and Mitch will be there. So thank him when you see him. So next, I want to recognize our partner of the month. So each month, we like to recognize a chamber partner who has gone over and beyond what what a typical partner would be able to do. And so this year, this month, we are recognizing Polium Restoration. If you have been to a golf tournament, you have hopefully had one of their hot dogs. So they are well known for their hot dog cart at our golf tournament, but they actually do good work in the community as well. They're not just a hot dog provider. So I'm going to invite John and his team up to say a couple words, but we just really want to thank them for their long-standing partnership, for everything they do with the Chamber. We are actually joining with them on an event later this month that I'm going to let him talk about. We'd love to invite all of you to come out to it in the Northeast area, but we just want to say thank you so much and give you a chance to share what you got.
Thank you, Hillary. All of our marketing and advertising clearly states commercial property restoration experts, but we are known affectionately as the hot dog guys. We have Hot Dog Corner at the annual golf tournament. Please come check it out. In the spirit of the growth and discussions this morning, I'd like to answer Eeyore's question, why bother? Because community, family, where we call home, that matters. And in 26 years of history, 49 storms we sent disaster response teams to. They've all come right here from Columbia. And my esteemed staff of account executives, they travel out of the Midlands every single day to Augusta, Charlotte, Charleston, Greenville, Spartanburg, every single day, and come right back here to the Midlands to call it home. And thank you to the Chamber, and we hope to see each and every one of you guys at our 26th anniversary in 2 weeks from today. Go to the Chamber's website to register. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to wrap up here. I know it is, hey, we might get out a few minutes early. A couple announcements. We do have a packed fall schedule. We're back to events. We're back to full time. Hope you guys enjoyed your little bit of reprieve this summer. I know everybody has a lot of events going on this fall, but we just want to fill you in on a couple that we have. Next week on September 19th, we have our partner engagement at Ruby Sunshine. We're partnering with the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association to do a tasting of Restaurant Week for this fall. So we will be at Ruby Sunshine at 4:30 to 6:30. They are opening up just for us, so it will be a private event. We'll have the whole space to ourselves. We get to try out some of their menu sampling. So we hope to see you there. More information on the website. We also have our small business breakout at the end of September back in this room. I think we're talking about technology, which will be interesting. And then we have our Thursday, we have our Forest Acres Gather and Grow. So we are partnering with the city of Forest Acres. They're doing a concert series at Gillis Park. So we hope to see you guys there. No registration necessary. Just show up and find our chamber tent. And then on the 25th, what John was just talking about, we have our Northeast Gather and Grow. So that will be at Polium Restoration. We will be celebrating their anniversary. And then October 3rd, we have our annual gala. It's our 121st annual gala. Yes, we have had 120 of them. So we are looking forward to celebrating 121 years of being here in the Midlands and downtown. So we will be on Main Street. We're throwing a block party that you will not forget. More information on our website. And then our Sporting Clay tournament is November 20th, so more information about that on our website as well. If you guys need anything, please find one of us. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for coming.